Observer's log. Ooh, this feels like home. We are finally back on our regularly scheduled journey. This is from 60,000 light years, a Star Trek podcast. Welcome. I'm one of your observers, Jay Clark, your other observer, Eric Berry, better known as Trekkie B47. What we do here is we
Hmm.
look at every entry that has been in the Star Trek franchise on its way to celebrating 60 glorious years, and those years just got a little more murky as we progress forward. But anywho, that's another discussion. And today we have gathered to look at Star Trek Prodigy. Like, share, subscribe. All the other previous entries, they are here. There's
Yes.
playlists. Check them out. If it's your first time, welcome. If you've been on this journey with us since day one, welcome. Whether you joined us in between one of those 2 points, welcome as well. Glad to have you here. Settle in because, again, we are here to start and talk with Star Trek Prodigy.
Ooh.
Whew, got to get back into the groove of this because it has been a minute,
It
sir.
has been a minute since we've done an overview.
Woo! Let's see. Star Trek Prodigy taking it back to October of 2021. We are smack right dab in the midst of COVID and those days, and life is a mess.
For me, this was pre my son being born, so that's crazy.
Pre Daddy Eric. Wow. Yeah. It's crazy that it's already going to be 5 years
I can't.
since
I
Star
can't,
Trek
man.
Prodigy. I'll start with this show. Because again, this is that batch of the Kurtzman era. I guess what we're calling now the Kurtzman era has exploded. All these different projects are in different stages and have been announced. Star Trek Prodigy was the one lowest expectations for. Because it was being marketed as a kid show. So I was like, hey, I'm going to check it out because it's Star Trek. I'm a Star Trek fan. But I'm not sure, being that it's being in conjunction with Nickelodeon. Again, but hey, I'm not one of these haters out here. I'm gonna enjoy Star Trek for what it is. What were some of your initial reactions to before the show aired, just in preparation for, were you looking forward to it? Were you pumped for it? What was your thoughts around it, sir?
So, for me, when I first saw it, I was curious that it was announced as a Nickelodeon show, and at the time, um, Power Rangers was on Nickelodeon or just ending its
Mm,
Nickelodeon phase, and it was going into Netflix, and I thought it was interesting, and I'm like, okay, they're trying something for kids. Is it even going to be able to speak to me? As
question,
soon
sir.
as they announced that Kate Mulgrew was going to be part of this and coming back as Captain Janeway, they had me hook, line, and sinker, because I don't care if it's like Janeway talking down to me like a 10-year-old. Like, I will take it. I'm such a huge Voyager fan. And so when I heard that Kate Mulgrew was coming back and she was talking so positively about it, I'm like, Kate Mulgrew doesn't mess around. Like, she will go fully into whatever project.
Right.
And if she's excited to come back as Janeway, I should be excited to watch Janeway come back. And so I think initially I was a little on the fence, but then just because of like, okay, Nickelodeon, I know Nickelodeon is under Viacom and that's a Paramount thing, and and Ninja Turtles and Paramount and
Right.
Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon and all
That was
the
some good work
anime,
there. So yeah.
and there's good stuff there, like the 3D Turtle different series were excellent. And so I had optimism, but I was still like on the fence about it because I didn't know how it would play out. And I think I was less like closed to I was more open to the idea because by this point, Lower Decks had a couple seasons under its belt.
Hmm.
And so I was like, okay, Star Trek can do like a well thought out animated series. I'll watch how this happens.
For me, the animation wasn't necessarily an issue. I was, as stated before, for me, it's if you know your premise, you're good. And
Right.
so again, going into it, I had because there was no series like, hey, it's the Nickelodeon show. It's for the younger audience. Like I remember my son was what, 5 at the time, and this is still to this day the one Star Trek he will Like if I'm turning on Star Trek, hey, is that the one with the kids? So he liked Prodigy. He enjoyed Prodigy. It's the one he will sit and watch. But yeah, it was again in this batch of they're trying a lot of things, and at this point, some stuff really isn't working. Some stuff it was like, hey, I'm
Right.
open to it. We'll see what happens. And it turned into quite the pleasant surprise. Let's get into the show. The premise in 2383, 5 years after the infamous USS Voyager has come back to Earth at the end of Star Trek Voyager. So we're in our comfort era. This is
Right.
where we like to be, essentially. We have a motley crew of young aliens who find this abandoned Star Trek ship or Starfleet ship, the Protostar, on this prison colony that they're on, and then they must learn to work together, and they find their way from the Delta Quadrant to the Alpha Quadrant. And yes, as you mentioned, Catherine Janeway returns, is being returned by Kate Mulgrew in the infamous role. We have Brett Gray playing Dalrell, Ella Purnell as Gwendala, Jason Matazakas as Joachim Pog. We have Agnes Emiri as Zero. We have Riley as a tongue twister right there. Riley Azalaraki as Araktak, D. Bradley Baker as Murph, Jimmy
Awesome.
Simpson as Dreadnought, John Noble as the Diviner. Again, Kate Mulgrew's Catherine Janeway. We get return of Robert Beltran as Chakotay. We get the first return of Robert Picardo as the Doctor, and then we'll get into some of the other ones later. But
Some very
very
surprising
ones
guests
that's,
later.
that's later.
Yeah.
But again, this was a great mixture of old and new
Yeah.
coming together in a premise for the show. Let's start with the old heads first because that's what drew us in probably for the most part. Guys, you already spoke on Catherine Janeway, but we get the return of Chakotay playing a central role in this first season, at least for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was really crazy because, like, just watching the whole show and, like, it started off like you're getting the basic Star Trek things out of the way, which I do think is a great entry point for even new people to Star Trek, not just kids. They tackle the basic concepts like right in those first few episodes, but then they fully go into this era of post Nemesis that we like to call. And it was kind of crazy because the first season was broken up a couple times.
Two
It
10-episode chunks, right? Because
Yeah,
season one was 20 episodes, season two was 20 episodes, 30 minutes apiece. So essentially, the same length of time we get now,
right.
essentially 10-hour long episodes. Time wise, it's about the same.
Right. And so the first 10 episodes were split in half even then because they did a hiatus for Discovery season 4, and then between the second half or part 2 of season 1, they did. I mean, that was the glory days of Star Trek. And it was right after my son was born. I mean, we had Discovery season 4 part 2, we had Picard season 2, we had Stranger World
That was
season
that
1.
year where you didn't have a week without a new Star Trek show.
Yes.
Like there was a stretch of time where it was like, yeah, it was just Trek. It was almost like a year long of
And
new
I
Trek
was
every week.
in like Trek heaven at that point.
Yeah. Good times. We didn't know we were eating good. We were eating good.
We were eating really good. And then so that first season of Prodigy with everything happening, because you had Picard season 2 going into the 25th century, and you had Lower Decks actually kind of earlier like a
yeah.
year earlier than Prodigy. So looking back on the overall show, seasons 1 and 2, this made a really good bridge between all those gaps. Like
It
that.
made the universe feel real big. Like all what we kind of loved about the Golden Age, all these stories happening at the same time, with these three shows being at least somewhat close, you felt a similar feeling, even though they were all in distinct moments of this patch.
And I remember like one of the producers, because it was created by Kevin and Dan Hageman, the Hageman brothers, and they've done some amazing shows.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron Wackey was one of the producers, and he was very like open with fans on social media and like hinting at things, and people would ask him questions like, "Hey, is this connected in Voyager this way?" And he's like, maybe. And like I love that the creators and the producers did their homework and to make things interconnected. They're like, okay, this happened in Nemesis. How can we ... and connect it to the other shows that are going on right now? And to me, this show is so special and I love it so much. And this show was done the dirtiest out of any of the Kurtzman era Trek.
Done the dirtiest, and it's the best.
And it's the best.
I think, especially with recent news, we have a good idea of where things will stand within this era. This is the best of the Kurtzman era, point blank, period. As an entire show, it is Star Trek Prodigy.
And I will say, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Everyone knows I'm a huge Voyager fan. I will ride or die for Captain Janeway and the crew of the USS Voyager. This was low-key the Star Trek Voyager sequel series that I have always effing dreamed about. Like the post-Nemesis, Voyager coming home. Like this was the sequel to Voyager that I had always wanted. And it was great. I really couldn't ask for anything more from Prodigy other than I wanted a third season.
Let's get into a little bit and doing what we do. Let's move real quick to the newer characters, as we mentioned. What'd you think of the new Motley, the young aliens, the kids of these are kids? Yes, these are kids. As many people talk about Starfleet Academy being, no, these are kids who found a ship. Let's just say found a ship for now, because that's how it was done in season 1.
Yeah.
Had bigger dreams, dreamed of something better, dreamed of, had heard about the Federation, what the Federation represent, and just wanted to get this ship to the Federation so they could join the Federation. I liked every character for the most part, except for Dal at the beginning. Dal was a bit of a extreme. He was a little bit extreme, and I understand why, but extreme in the beginning.
And now you can see Brett Gray in the Old Spice body wash commercials. Yep. I recognize that voice instantly during the Super Bowl. No, I agree with you. Like Dal was a bit abrasive at first, but he's also like, you gotta have a character like this in this type of show. You gotta have someone that challenges the rules. But
conflict had to come from somewhere.
Yeah. And he still had that mysterious, backstory, but he also was the main central character because he had the most growth. He was that viewer. It was like the viewer entrance into the world of Star Trek, because he was asking the tough questions. He was challenging, well, why does Starfleet do this? And what's this thing? And oh my gosh, this is a really cool thing. How can I get in trouble because of this thing? And he was always pushing the system. And I think if you're going to have a show about kids, you gotta have the troublemakers, because kids get into a lot of trouble and they challenge the system and they need structure and discipline. And that's why I love the concept of like Hollow Janeway and just them being pre-Starfleet Academy cadets. And then Dal was the whole representation of like kids that need to be taught and forged to be something greater.
He has an idea of where he wants to go and knows a good system, but doesn't necessarily know what tech can impart on him or how that interaction works. He thinks he's got it all figured out yet, but you don't.
Like a lot of preteens and teenagers do.
Yeah. What's that you mentioned? Hollow Janeway? Yes. As we find out at the end of the 2-episode premiere, Kate Mulgrew was pulling double duty here by playing Admiral Janeway, and USS Voyager Captain Janeway simultaneously in a great way. I will tell you after that premiere, I was sold. Again, went
Yeah.
into like I'm here to see what this is. After the premiere, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm here for this ride. Let's see where this goes. You intrigued me. And that this might not just be some plain kid show. And yes, we get introduced to hologram Janeway, which is a fave of the series. I think more on that later.
Yeah.
As you mentioned through these first couple episodes, yes, I. This is how you introduce somebody to Trek.
Yep.
It like you had everything from I like Dreamcatcher because isn't Dreamcatcher though? Because here's the problem with this: you can't freaking watch this damn show anywhere. More on that later. Dreamcatcher, that's the one with the whole like TOS
Yes.
impersonating crew and like the whole Kirk fool and stuff. Like they brought you into the Star Trek universe if this was your first time and literally taught you everything you needed to know through good Trek stories developing these cadets as they were on their journey to the Alpha Quadrant.
And touching upon, at the time, 55 years of Star Trek legacy, but doing it in a natural way. Like, it's taking advantage of everything that's come before it, just like any good Star Trek show does. Like, take advantage of what you already have available to you and explore that more. And the biggest example of that, and what got me so excited, was the character of Rock Talk, who is a Brykar, which was introduced in the Peter David New Frontier novels as a species. And to have such a deep cut finally be like official canon, not just like beta canon from like book canon, was incredible. And I love seeing the live action version of that in Starfleet Academy. Just
Fit right in. It fit right in.
fit
It
right
worked.
in.
It worked.
And Rock Talk, she is such a innocent character. She's one of the most innocent characters in this show, but she rose to the challenge just like all of these cadets did in her own way. And
I mean,
all of these characters really grew.
her episode being Time Amok and
Man,
literally the growth that the character goes through and that we don't know all the trauma that you truly dealt with. We just know it was some time. But you pursued through, man, like that's
it was probably one of my favorite like time travel based stories.
Star Trek 101. Like, yes,
Yeah.
it fit right in. Like, hey, yes, this is just another way of this trope that this show uses. Fit right in. I kind of want to speed through this a little bit because this show gets deeper once you realize what it did. So yes, we get the whole journey, first
Yeah.
season, the whole plot of the ship is going to be an enemy to destroy the Federation or whatnot. We end up a cool fight at the end as they get in touch with the Federation and we see some Sovereign class ships. A cool battle again. It's this automated
Yeah.
fleet thing
Which
that
is touched upon in again
other
again.
episodes.
Yeah. Other series.
Season 1 is enjoyable. Good.
Season 2.
Season 2 is what takes this show to another level. 'Cause
Oh my
like
God.
season 1 was like, okay, yeah, this was good. That's a good story. Season 2 just took the game up here and expanded it by turning this into one of the greatest overarching, all-inclusive, like for everything that the show did. When you realize everything in the show is included because it basically expands in this time paradox story featuring none other than Will Wheaton in the return as Wesley
Oh
Crusher.
my God. Man.
After that horrible tease that was season 2 of Picard, he actually comes in and lends himself as a realized, actual, important character to the
And
story.
then they even tie it to Picard in
A little
different
bit.
ways.
Yes, in different ways, and tie it to TOS tropes with the whole
Not preservers, the observers and like the
That's
Gary
the
Seven and
right.
all that. Yeah.
So,
The Traveler and
oh
all
my,
that.
yes,
It's crazy.
The way season 2 just expands it. Season 2 is what makes this show epic and legendary because it shows what it means to come into the story and have an idea of what you want to tell and how you're going to tell it.
And it deals with what Star Trek has always been good at, like time paradoxes and multiverse and like cosmic beings and all these concepts that these are kids trying to do all this, and they're up against even impossible odds that even adults would find challenging. And it's to see their journey throughout this season, and they even introduce a new character, Majel, who is named after Majel Roddenberry, and now you've got your Vulcan in the mix, and she was great.
The kids are out of the academy. They've learned. They're it's all the ingredients are there.
And I remember, because the thing is, we had to wait a year and a half for this season, and
it didn't air till 2024.
It aired a day before my birthday on 2024. All seasons dropped because Netflix picked up that season 2 because there was some cancellation drama.
It had already been canceled at that point, and Netflix picked it up. Will they pick it up again? But anywho,
and so they dropped all the episodes on like my birthday weekend or birthday week, and you'll be damn sure we binged that because we went up to my parents for 4th of July weekend, and we literally binged it at my mom and dad's place.
You had to binge it.
You had to binge it
because unfortunately this is one of the worst things about this damn era here.
The spoilers.
This is peak spoilers. Like literally the minute it drops, you got every damn thing that happens on the show being talked about online.
And it dropped like at the typical drop point at midnight. Like midnight. And I'm like, and I'm like trying to dodge spoilers left and right because I knew how special this season would be.
Did you make it past the Wesley spoiler? Did you know? Because that got spoiled for me. I think at some point I saw something online. I knew he was in the show. I didn't know in what capacity. I knew he was in the show.
I think it got spoiled. I remember being pissed I got spoiled at something. And I tried, because Teresa loved this show so much, and I tried to shield her from as much as possible, like, because it was meant to be experienced in like one go, and those revelations. Hell, I remember my brother was watching it with us like halfway through the season. He's like, what is this? This is great. And my mom was like watching it with us too, because literally we were there at my mom and dad's place that weekend, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to get through watching this. And it was so exciting. Voyager A, the Doctor, Janeway commanding Voyager again, Chakotay.
We actually got some good Chakotay story development. Like they made my man a little more righteous once again. Like you redeemed Chakotay. Incredible.
It was incredible. And I still get goosebumps when I watched that clip the other day on YouTube, because it's such an epic moment when they're on the Traveler planet with Wesley and the freaking like time aliens, and they're about to attack the kids, and there you hear the Voyager theme, and freaking Voyager A is like right there, and Janeway's like, fire all you got. Like it's giving me goosebumps now, because she was like, attack them with everything you got, buy them some time, stay away from those kids. And I'm like, good Janeway. It's Janeway or the highway, baby.
It's good track. It's just, and I think that's the bit. It's a good science fiction story told through the characters with a little bit of some familiar sprinkled in. Again, this is a prime way of how you use something like Legacy. Mm-hmm. That's not just like, let's just take this and repaint it and do the same thing again. No, let's take a couple of these characters, push it forward. How would they interact? Like, you get the expansion, like people who love the Janeway Chakotay relationship, they were shipping all throughout this damn show.
Yes.
But like, I loved how all the elements you brought in fit together and worked for motivation with all the characters. Like, even, yes, the Doctor being an advisor for Janeway there, like, and with the kids, it works. The differences between Hollow Janeway and Admiral Janeway, the distinctions there between the performances. Like there was such care and intention with this show, and it's clear from the product that was being presented to us.
And we wouldn't have the Doctor in Starfleet Academy without this show, because Alex Kurtzman was so impressed of the concept of the Doctor mentoring kids. He's like, well, he can live forever. Why don't we have him in Starfleet Academy? Like, it just is such an integral part of Star Trek and this franchise. And I really hate when people don't give every part of Star Trek a chance, or they don't give it a chance because, oh, it was that Nickelodeon kid show. It's not. It's not.
I'll play the opposite side. Yeah, it's a Nickelodeon kid show.
So what?
I don't think any other Trek has touched such a broad story as the one, an intricate story as this one did.
And it never talked down. It never talked down to kids.
It
never.
It was Trek through and through. You can't name me a series, and this is me as a Deep Space Nine lover, who gave you 40 interconnected episodes like this. It's several different stories that all are interconnected into this overall larger story that really realize you don't end up at episode 1 unless you go through like the paradox that this entire show is a friggin' masterclass.
Temporal Mechanics 101, baby. Like, that's what it is. It is.
And and as good as this show is, it's one of the ones that makes you question what the is anybody else doing? Because again, the math, you 40 episodes of 30 minutes long, and there's character work, emotional growth. There is, again, we're pushing this new Starfleet boundaries forward. We got new tech, new ships. We see the Dauntless on screen. We've got familiar stuff on screen. The ship porn, even though this is an animated show, like the ship porn is great,
amazing.
Probably some of the best of this current era that we are in. Like
we saw the Defiant again.
We got familiarity again, as you mentioned. The Voyager, oh my God, that was a sexy ship. Like, oh yes, that was it's like a mini sovereign almost. Like it was just
and incorporating things that were already in the lore. Quantum slipstream drive, like Protostar the Protostar drive is like a new, almost based off quantum slipstream. Like, they even mention it when Voyager A, like, oh yeah, all the technologies that Voyager came back with, we're incorporating that.
You see the growth, yeah.
You see the growth, and you see the interconnectivity. And going back to episode length, there were these are all like 30-minute-ish episodes, or 22,
probably in the mid-20s. 30 is just being nice for the math.
25-minute episodes. Some of these episodes pack so much in. They pack so much in character and development and story and canon than most of these regular hour-long shows do.
It made you wonder, like, how are you able
to do it here?
And not able to do it over here? Like, it made no sense that the best representation of Star Trek for this era was the one show it shouldn't have been, the kid show made for Nickelodeon. That's what this thing was advertised as. That's what a lot of people believe it to be, and it is so much more than
it's one of the most densely packed concept-wise. And then, the lore-wise, because they're literally building that bridge of everything that I wanted as a Star Trek fan, from post-Nemesis to connecting it to that Picard era. Mm-hmm. And they touch upon, the Romulan supernova, and they tie it in with Picard, and they tie it in with the post-Borg destruction. There's so much that they packed in. And we got to see Admiral Janeway in action. It's just everything I ever wanted. And that's why this show is so special to me, because it's my post-Voyager sequel that I literally dreamed about, and they made it happen.
This is the show that makes me ask the question, why aren't we doing more animated?
Right?
especially in regards to something like Star Trek Legacy, because the article the other week with Marina Sirtis talking about, yeah, sorry to break it to you, but no studio wants to pay a bunch of 80-year-olds. She's right, as ageist as that might be.
But you can pay a
You
bunch of
could,
voice actors.
you could do a bunch of voice actors, and between this and Lower Deck, like even in this, which you had the Kobayashi Maru episode, you had Spock, you had Crusher, you had Uhura, and you had Odo,
Yep.
a motley cast of crew,
Who have
all take
sadly
part.
passed on, or, I mean, not Crusher,
Yeah,
but, legacy characters.
and yeah, for Odo and Spock, they used pieced together some audio. Uhura too as well. Gates McFadden, I do believe, recorded fresh lines
Right.
for Crusher. So it was like it shows the potential, and I'm sure this will be a deeper discussion down the line. But like
There's
you
no
can do so much more with
limitations.
less. You can do so much more with less.
There's no limitations with animation.
Like and especially in this genre of sci-fi, like maybe even make it an anime. Like go ham with it. Give us something that's funky and different, which I doubt we'll get anytime soon. But like it seems like the premise is right there because, as you mentioned, there's no limitation. Ships,
And
technologies, races. You can play with anybody.
And a good example of this, of reviving a seemingly dead franchise with animation, Firefly. They just announced the whole cast is coming back in animated form because they're all old now and they're all too busy with other projects. But hey, what's the solution? Animation. And you can have any animation style. You can get realistic animation. You can do more 3D, like with Prodigy. I actually grew to love Prodigy's animation style.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Like it's beautiful.
I mean, some of the space shots. I mean, we talk about ship porn, but the space porn in this is, oh my god.
I mean, I'm thinking of shots of Chakotay and the Protostar on that planet he crashed on. I'm thinking of shots of
all the planets they visited,
and all the planets they visited, the Voyager A and the Protostar going through the wormhole. Like they are just some beautiful, beautiful shots and scenery and designs here. And again, it's just like that beauty of, yes, you can do anything with the animation.
Even the set design, we got to see Parisi squares. We got to see, stellar cartography, like the cetacean ops. We got to see for the first time. We got to see so many things that would be so expensive in live action to make.
You got to play with two bridges, two crews at the same time. You had the Protostar crew, and then you had the Dreadnought crew, and it wasn't, hey, a redressed bridge. No, the Dreadnought had its own bridge and styling, and the Protostar had its own ship and style. And you could do that with the animation versus, okay, no, we really can't do that. We can't have two bridge sets for real life because that's just too damn expensive. But you could do that here and bounce back and forth when appropriate for each story. Like,
and they were able to do so many things. They brought back so many different alien species, Kazon, Denobulans,
hell, we saw Klingons. What's his name from
Andorian.
TNG? That Dow really liked. Human, early TNG.
Thadian O'Connor.
O'Connor. Yeah, they brought back O'Connor.
Billy Campbell, freaking the Rocketeer, and he came back. He reprised his role. We had Admiral Jellicoe. Did I ever think we'd ever see Jellicoe again?
Like
The cuts were so deep, and to have Janeway versus Jellicoe, I was like, bring it on. And Jellicoe still continues to be a complete a-hole.
But it still works. Like this is a show that it was a show that made you realize, like, this is the fun of the Star Trek universe.
Yeah.
Where it's not just about having the whole thing, but how do these things sometimes play with each other in different combinations that, You mean like one of the best things we love about people say they love about Deep Space Nine is the way they would pair off characters sometimes in pairings that you wouldn't expect, and they would go off and it'd be great.
Right.
You like to see that with the concepts of the franchise, and like, yeah, give me some Voyager mixed with a little TNG, or give me some DS9 mixed with a little, and like, yes, play with these things that we've seen in different portrayals and how they all encompass and work now. It makes the Federation seem big. It makes the space seem big. It makes it seem whole. It makes it seem
It
more
makes the
actual,
universe
realized.
seem lived in.
Yeah. And still, then you gave us new races. You gave us new people. Like you didn't just rely on what had come before. You took this to build more and further, and it's all we ever asked for. Like this show was literally all you ever asked for. Yep, good crew, cool,
And awesome crew, and
Yep.
and we got to see the potential of a bad first contact that started this whole thing off. We got the temporal mechanics. We've got literally everything that Star Trek is about. Peaceful exploration to crazy adventures and crazy time travel, insane adventures and meeting new races and learning new things and meeting new people. That's all Star Trek. And this whole show just emphasized what Star Trek is about. And to do that in a quote unquote kid show, but to get kids interested in Star Trek, like, wow, is there more of this type of thing? Yes. Here's X, Y, and Z. Go have fun.
In 2 seasons, we got just as much Star Trek as anybody. Like, I think the episode count has to matter here just a little bit. We got a lot of time with these characters in a way for 2 seasons, 40 episodes. That's, yeah, some of these are some part twos and whatnot, but that's a lot of stories that Picard didn't reach 40 episodes. And it had 3 seasons.
Yep.
Discovery surpassed it just a little bit because it had 5 seasons, and then those up earlier seasons had a couple more.
And now Starfleet Academy is only going to have 20. That's
It's only gonna
half
have
of
20.
this.
Strange New Worlds will end up with what, about 45, 46, depending on whatever that fine, whether it's 6 or 5 for that last. But so it there's something about that episode count and how you're telling the story. I didn't know that the Hageman brothers had more planned. I was always of the mind that I don't know if I'd want to see season 3 of Prodigy because I don't necessarily. I was always of the mind that they had to come back to the well and create from there. Versus they were kind of in the same camp as Lower Decks. Now we've already had some of these things. We have an idea of where we'd like to go. It makes me just that disappointed that we don't get to cook with this friend. Because even the way that this show leaves off, again, like it's a beautiful way of finishing this story and then going off and then
having the hope for the future.
The hope for the future. And who the hell knows what else they would have jumped. Like imagine they do a 3rd season and it's still all in some way crazy. Like. I would love to have seen them cook because, like, just again, it's Bravo, and I know it may sound like waxing, but somehow if you're listening and have never watched Star Trek Prodigy, it is well deserved. Like, do not sleep on this show. It is one of the pinnacle examples of Star Trek. Some might argue it's one of the best Star Treks. Period. Where it might end up, who knows? We'll check out the ranking when we get there, but like, it's just Again, it's one of those things like you did it.
Yeah.
Why can't anybody like? And it's a shame that it's a shame. Starfleet Academy aside, at this point, the 2 best entries of this Kurtzman era are the 2 he wasn't most directly involved with.
Right. Right. Well,
Like,
yeah.
the 2 best ones are the ones This was the Hageman show.
Yeah.
Lower Decks was the Lower Decks people show. It's all under his umbrella, but he wasn't directly.
Right. And, that's where, like, some of the conversations that we talked about earlier, like, that they wanted to use a character for this thing, but he was over here and they had to fight. And then that's where you got, unfortunately, like, hey, Prodigy just did evil ships shooting each other, and then Lower Decks did it, and
after
then
Picard did it. Like it was like
Picard did it, yeah. And that's one of the not so great things about, but it's because now you have three different creators doing three different similar stories and not really feeling like they're talking to each other, or they are, but it's like, then it just makes Starfleet look bad because, guys, what's wrong with your ships? Didn't you learn this lesson like 10 years ago?
How many times are you going to have to deal with this? How many times is
Right.
somebody going to be able to take over the fleet with the same, essentially, type
Right.
of prospect? What is, because we've been waxing about it,
Sure.
what would you say are some of your top critiques about Star Trek Prodigy, if you have any?
Um, I I really do like this show. Yeah, I honestly don't know because I do love this show so much, and maybe I've got like blinders on because of my Voyager love and all of that, but um and it's still a kid's show, so I can't knock them for some of the comedy kind of slapstick things that they threw in there because they didn't throw a lot in there. There was some, obviously, some humorous moments, and then the kids just being kids, and I
Yeah.
can't really fault them for that because, you know, I was a kid, like I would think
fits
that's
the
funny.
characters.
It fits the characters. No, I really don't have any like major critiques. I wish we got more. My biggest critique is I wish we got more. But you know, I think that speaks to just the quality of the storytelling and that the writers and the whole crew, like visually it looks great. It's beautiful. I really don't have any like major critiques.
I was just asking to see because I'm right there with you. Like critiques of this show. I mean, they are there, but
It's like nitpicky.
it starts to get nitpicky. So as a whole, no, it's a very good, enjoyable show. There's some good Trek. They're not breaking canon. They're not killing anything like it. No, it's literally just another extension of Star Trek in a different form. Love it, enjoy it.
And I love one of the biggest things was in that Wesley episode, and he literally explains the whole Star Trek multiverse in one of the most beautiful ways possible. It's like literally this is Star Trek. There was the Prime, it started branching off. Now we've got a multiverse. This is it. It was so elegant in how they use that metaphor.
Again, based off like literally what you were just saying. How is all this going on and nobody's talking to one another? It was like when you explode the universe like this and show the potential of what you're cooking with. Again, why did you do Discovery the way you did it? Like again, like you exploding this into we can literally do anything because it's so many possibilities out
And
there.
how did Lower Decks end? With
Same.
with a multiverse portal, just like Deep Space Nine with its own space station to explore the multiverse wormhole. Like, it's all connected. And then you had Picard doing a weird Borg portal thing that
Then they did that. Yeah, that thing again too. Yeah,
it's yeah.
Somehow there's so much potential there, and then they're just dropping the ball. It's like, come on, guys, can we juggle here? Can we juggle?
I think that's my critique is that, and not against Prodigy, because I think what Prodigy did was, you know, because animation, like they have to have this story to far in advance. So maybe the other shows borrowed from what Prodigy was doing. And so I don't know. I don't want to throw that speculation out there. But I think my biggest critique is that it's from the production side because it seemed like Kurtzman and, you know, Mike McMahon and the Hageman brothers weren't talking as much as they should have, or Kurtzman was like not. And I don't want to blame Kurtzman because I don't want to come across as like one of these like guys online. I'm just saying my biggest critique of this era and not just Prodigy was that there needed to be a bigger vision and not step on another person's toes.
Kevin Feige. You needed a Kevin Feige, and
Yeah.
I think you still do, especially like to the extent because when you have so much to play with, yeah, how do we keep this all in line? But yeah, there's just so much potential with this damn show, and I think it's also a damn shame that I would state that this show is one of the better entry doors for a new fan. It's
Mm-hmm.
how it was made.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't fucking get it anywhere. Even with it how it originally aired, it was released on Paramount Plus before it even aired on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And then you don't get the second season on Nickelodeon. You got to go to Netflix if you want it. And now, unless you literally have the physical media,
And I do. I do.
the
And
supposed
yeah.
home of Star Trek does not have all of Star Trek.
And the way that they were dismissing it and not including it in promotional materials, not including it at San Diego Comic-Con, all these like little things that it was like, why are you guys sliding one of the best series under your belt?
This do not know what you produced.
This
you
is
all
the,
don't know what you.
this is the 10th Star Trek series out of 12, and you guys are treating it like it's a throwaway.
And it's your diamond in the rough. Like,
Yeah.
it's the shining diamond of a series. And yes, if you can find it, and you've never seen Star Trek, it's a perfect entry door because it'll teach you everything you need to know.
And I know you can purchase it digitally because, well, I'll admit I wanted to do a full rewatch before we talked about this. But the thing is, I'm in the process of some life changes, and my DVDs were packed away. My Blu-rays of this season were packed away. I didn't want to feel like going through 50 different boxes to find it. But I also didn't want to spend $20 to buy a whole season just to watch it, to talk about it.
Yeah.
So you can get it digitally and you can get it physically. It just sucks that you can't just load up Paramount Plus or Netflix and just play the show.
It just sucks you just can't come across Nickelodeon never had this thing on repeat like that.
Nope. They did not.
Like, bigger discussion for another day, but sometimes Star Trek just needs to be something you come across. Like, I don't know if with as many channels as some of these, distributors have, like you can't tell me there's no reason. Oh, we're gonna run a little Prodigy marathon today, or hey, we're
Right.
gonna keep these Prodigy episodes in rotation every day. I'm like, there's so much damn SpongeBob you're still playing, like Bluey marathons. I get it, that stuff is popular, but like,
But they
people a
didn't
chance to get
give
into it.
they didn't give Prodigy a chance to become popular. That's the
No.
problem.
No, and I think, like I said, my son enjoys it. It's the one Trek he'll actually want to watch.
And with season 2, like when RJ was like 2 years old, by that time that the second season came out, like he was starting to recognize Star Trek things because we watched it all the time. And when the ship flies by, he knows it's the Enterprise or Voyager, and he knows it's the Protostar, and he knows Star Trek. He sees this shape, he knows that's Star Trek. Just the other day, he did the Vulcan salute because I had that shirt, and he actually did it. I can't physically did it. He did it. And I'm like, great, you and Mom have that. Like, I don't. But it just makes me proud as a father that I can show my son Star Trek Prodigy and know that it's not going to talk down to him and it's going to be safe for him to watch.
And give him all the things that you want out of some good Trek.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, sir, do you have on the top of your mind, since we've always got to do a full rewatch for the series, 3 strong moments that stand out to you across, like, 3, you're like, yeah, these 3 epic moments?
I think one of my favorite moments / episodes was when Dal and Janeway switched places.
Ah, okay, yep. Mm-hmm.
Because you still got the classic kids, body swap type trope, but they did it in a Star Trek way that made sense. And that episode was so great because Janeway finally figured out what was going on with these kids. She was like, oh, this is a complete misunderstanding. They want to help us. And I think that's what Star Trek is all about. Again, what I said before, like, the Traveler's Planet, that amazing shot of Janeway coming in to save these kids from those like time ripper things, and classic Janeway rile 'em up speech, like, don't F with these people. Like, it's just such an epic moment. And I think, God, there's so many great moments, but one of the ones that really stands out for me is when Chakotay and Dal have that one-on-one on top of the ship on that planet.
As they got it sailing through the clouds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, Dal is questioning about being a leader and being a captain, and it's just such a great talk between those two characters, and it dovetails into the end of the series when Dal wants Gwyn to be the captain because he recognizes it's so much character growth.
That Dal turnaround. That Dal turnaround.
Man, mad respect.
That's some growth right there. To where, yeah, you were like, nah, because he wants to be the captain. That's all he's focused on.
But he knows he's not. He still has a lot to learn, and the humility in that situation from him in that moment, and that all started to turn around with his talk with Chakotay. And I think you're right. That was one of the biggest redeeming things about Prodigy, was turning Chakotay's character around. And I know Robert Beltran has said for years that they did Chakotay dirty towards the end of Voyager because they didn't know what to do with him. Yeah. And the creators and producers and writers of this show redeemed his character. And I'm so glad Robert Beltran came back for this. I'm so glad Kate Mulgrew. I'm so glad so many people came back and contributed and made these stories what they are, because it's special. So what are your top 3 moments?
Ooh, the visual of that episode with the ship, because this cloud ocean planet, the visual of literally using the ship as a boat ship with sails sailing through the stunning visuals.
Yeah,
loved it. One that jumps out at me though also is Zero's moment. Zero's hero moment where gives up their body after that moment right there. God. That'll tug at you.
That ripped my heart a little bit for sure.
I don't know if I have a third that jumps off again, because I haven't been able to watch the show as much as I would have enjoyed just because the access thing. So those are 2 that definitely stand out. But then I think you get the moment, the Crusher moment where he gets to call his mama, or he pops. You get the moment he pops up with Beth,
and it connects with Jack Crusher.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Great stuff there. And then also that moment where he explains all that's going on, and you're just like, oh my God, y'all are fucking brilliant.
Yep.
With what you pulled off. And yes, I wish I could see what else you had planned. The final point I think it just hit me, I think I'd like to make with this show is just whatever is going to happen going forward.
Sure.
Please put Trek in the hands of people who love Trek.
Mm-hmm.
The Hagemans were a great example.
Aaron Watke
was a great example. The folks behind Lower Decks is a great example. So let's just say Tawny as a representation of that.
Dave Blass from production designer of Picard.
Kristen Beyer,
yep.
Whatever the future is going to hold, this franchise has worked best currently in the hands of those who love it and aren't afraid to play with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we're going to be like that. I don't have faith in that going forward.
So much is up in the air. Like Tawny Newsom's Trek comedy
the live
series,
action,
that's out the window. Come on.
I don't.
I'm sorry,
I don't expect anybody to continue because they're going to clean house.
Year 1, you're gone.
They're going to clean house.
For all you people who begged and pleaded for Captain 7 of 9 and Legacy, that's gone. Like, it's not going to be the same ever again. And personally, I am thankful that after Enterprise and the Star Trek movies, I'm actually thankful I got 10 more years of new Star Trek with different stories and different formats. I'm actually very happy with that. And, you know, from the 50th anniversary to the 60th, what a beautiful way to kind of cap all of this. But I'm a selfish Trekkie. I want more, and I'm not going to get it because of these fuckwits.
Whew, it is time for us to get on out of here. The tide has turned. But Prodigy, woo,
good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah, we used to rank. We're gonna have a rankathon later.
We'll do a rankathon later.
And but Prodigy, high peak.
High on that list.
This is if anybody were to truly ask, what is the pinnacle of this third Renaissance era of Trek, or this Kurtzman era, whatever you want to call it?
It's Prodigy.
I'm going to point to Prodigy with the quickness. And in fact, I would say it's Prodigy, which has hampered Academy in a way.
Sure.
Because the fear was Academy was going to become another Prodigy, and it's going to get 2 years, and that's it. And it has been.
Here we are.
But unfortunately, it's not even going to get the chance, I think, to get to some of the heights. Because Prodigy, there's been hope for a while. Not going to happen, unfortunately. We're all going to have to get over that. But I think was because there was no Prodigy before Prodigy, that mark had never been set. And so now it's kind of like, I think one of the things discounting against Starfleet Academy is what Prodigy showed us they could do it. Yep. Can you? But they won't get the quite chance. But it's time to get out of here because we are not focusing on the greatness that is Prodigy anymore. It's been one of them times and stretches, and we're going to continue on looking at this beautiful franchise that we so dear love called Star Trek as we move along towards its 60th anniversary, which has taken a bump, but that's okay. We shall keep trekking and continue on from 60,000 light years. Like, share, subscribe. We are a Star Trek podcast. Join the crew. Hey, share your thoughts about Star Trek Prodigy or your thoughts about Star Trek, period. Again, we've covered everything so far from TOS to Prodigy. Everything. The playlist is right there. Check it out. Find what you like, find what you love, and tell us about it. Let us know what makes Star Trek Trek to you. That's what we are all about. But until next time, sir, I assume we'll be on a different bridge. Look forward to it.
The holodeck settings may change a bit. There might be a new bridge configuration. Things will be slightly different. But we'll see what the future...
We gonna throw an A, or is this a B? B for Barry? We're gonna throw the B on the ship, the designation.
Well, in terms of my podcasting YouTube, this could be considered the B.
True. Hey, it all fits in. Hey, either way, regardless, exciting times ahead. At least from us over here. Keep your head about it. Keep your peace, and we'll check you out next time. Live long and prosper, sarcastic Vulcan husband. Take us out.